If you've been wondering what's happening with our housing market this fall, good news. I have all the full story for you. September brought some interesting changes. Sales slowed a little bit, inventory climbed, and the big headline, the Bank of Canada cut interest rates in mid September. So, what does that mean for you, whether you're a buyer or a seller, heading into the last quarter of the year? Stick with me right until the end because I'll explain what's going on behind the numbers and what I think we can expect as we head into the colder months. Although today is a beautiful day. Let's get right into it. So, the first part of this explanation is the seasonal shift. Let's start with the big picture. Every year in Ottawa, we see the market heat up in the spring, stay strong through early summer, and then usually slow down as families go back to school and the weather starts to cool. This year followed the exact same pattern very closely. We sold 1,089 homes in September, which is down from 1,236 in August and 1,318 in July. Now, if you just look at that drop month to month, you might think, oh, the market is in trouble. But here's the thing, this is normal. It happens almost every single year as the spring peak winds down. And here is the positive note. Even though sales dipped compared to the summer, they were still about 2.4% higher than last September. So we're not seeing a market that's falling apart. We're seeing a market that's acting the way a balanced, healthy market usually does at this time of the year. The second part I want to talk about is prices. They are holding their ground. This is always the first thing people ask me about whether they're buying or selling. In September, the average sale price was $690,397, and that's just slightly higher than August's $686,536 and a touch lower than July's $695,209. Year over year, it's actually up by 0.3%. So what does that tell us? Even though there's more inventory on the market, there's still enough buyer demand to keep prices stable. Let's dig a little deeper into the MLS Home Price Index, which often gives us a little bit of a clearer view as to what is happening. So the composite benchmark price for Ottawa was $627,200, up by 1.1% compared to last year. Single family homes averaged at $697,200, up by 1%. And the big standout is townhomes. They jumped by 7.8% to $462,800. Meanwhile, apartments dipped slightly, down 1.7% to just a little over $408,000. So while prices haven't skyrocketed, they're certainly not falling either. It's a sign that the market is finding a stable footing, especially for that missing middle type of housing like townhomes, which we desperately need more of in the Ottawa area. The third part of this review is inventory. More choices equals less pressure. So let's talk about that inventory because this is a big piece of the puzzle. For years during the pandemic, we had a chronic lack of homes for sale. Buyers were competing fiercely and often had to make rushed, unconditional offers. It wasn't a great time for buyers. But this September was very different. We had 4,388 active listings, up from 3,971 in August and 4,205 in July. On top of that, we saw 2,832 new listings hit the market in September. That's a 19.3% increase compared to last year. More inventory is great news for buyers because it means more choices and less pressure to make a snap on the spot decision. Now, here is the key metric we always keep an eye on: the months of inventory. That figure tells us how long it would take to sell all the current listings if no new ones were added to the market. In September, it sat at 4.0 months, up from 3.2 months in both July and in August. A balanced market usually falls somewhere between 4 and 6 months of inventory. So, what we're seeing now is a return to a more normal and healthier market, one where buyers and sellers are more on even ground. Let's talk about part number 4: the September rate cut, a subtle but important shift. Let's talk about the big financial headline of the month. On September 17th, the Bank of Canada lowered its key policy rate by 25 basis points, bringing it down to 2.5%. This might not sound like a huge drop, but here's why it really matters. It makes borrowing just a little bit more affordable. It could help first time buyers qualify for the mortgage they need. And it might just be enough to bring some of those buyers who are sitting on the sidelines back into the market this fall. We probably won't see the full impact immediately. Changes in interest rates usually take a few months to really filter through the market as people renew pre approvals or revisit their plans of buying or selling. But combine this rate with the stable prices and a good supply of homes, and we could be setting up for a surprisingly active late fall or early winter market. So now let's look at the year so far. It's always helpful to zoom out and see how we're doing over the entire year. So far in 2025, we've had 11,025 home sales, which is 3.9% higher than at the same time last year in 2024. The year-to-date average price is $699,910, up by 2.7% compared to last year. In September alone, the total value of homes sold was around $751 million, which is 2.8% higher than September of last year. So these numbers tell us that Ottawa's real estate market continues to be a major part of the local economy, supporting jobs, investment, and also long-term growth. Part number 6 is: what should buyers keep in mind? So what does this mean if you're a buyer right now? Well, first of all, you have more choice than you've ever had in many, many years. You don't have to rush into a bidding war or waive conditions like inspections or financing, at least not in most cases. It still happens once in a while, but it definitely isn't the norm like it used to be. Here are a few things to keep in mind. Take advantage of this window to shop around. With the rate cuts, check in with your mortgage broker. Your affordability might have shifted in your favor. Don't assume that prices will drop dramatically. The stability we're seeing shows there's still strong demand, especially for the right properties. All in all, this is a market where you can take your time to find the home that really works for you and also your lifestyle. Part number 7 is what sellers need to know at this moment. Now, if you are a seller, the story is a little bit different. Right now, buyers have more choices, which means you need to be really strategic about how you position your property. Here are my top tips. Make sure you price your home correctly. Overpricing or testing the market will push buyers away, and homes that linger on the market tend to sell for less at the end of the day. Number 2 is presentation is key. Make sure your home is clean, decluttered, staged, shows like a model home, because this is what buyers are looking for. They have more choices. They're going to pick the prettiest home on the market. Number 3 is invest in professional photography, video tours, drone, and solid marketing to make your home stand out online, because that's where buyers start their search. We know that today everybody is online, looking for the new home, and it really is very important that your house shows well, it stands out from the rest of the homes. Think of it as moving back to a more traditional market where preparation and strategy make a huge difference. So let's talk about Ottawa's resilience and the road ahead. September was a really good example of Ottawa's resilience. Even as we saw the unusual seasonal slowdown in sales and more homes hitting the market, prices held firm. That tells us the fundamentals of our market are still very strong. With the interest rate cut now in play and demand for affordable housing types like townhomes continue to grow, I think we are going to see steady conditions as we move into the fall and possibly even a little bit more activity than we typically expect during the winter months. So here is the bottom line. Ottawa's market is balanced, stable, and showing that steady growth that make it one of Canada's most resilient real estate markets. If you're thinking about buying or selling, this is a great time to start planning your move. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about the rate cuts? Will it bring more buyers this fall? Leave your comments below. I take a look at every single comment. As always, if you want to chat about your own situation, reach out to me directly. I'd love to help. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. If you found it helpful, feel free to share it, hit the thumbs up, and don't forget to drop that comment below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more straight talk on real estate. I will see you in the next video, but in the meantime, if you have any questions about the real estate market in your area, in your neighborhood, on your street, make sure to give me a quick call, or you can always email me at jeanricher@jeanricher.com. Merci beaucoup et bonne journée.